Anubis, the god of mummification and the judgment of the dead. Anubis, one of the most iconic deities of ancient Egyptian mythology, is widely recognized as the god of mummification and the judge of the dead. With a jackal head and human body, he is a figure of both reverence and fear, embodying the mysterious and profound rituals surrounding death and the afterlife. This text explores Anubis' origins, his roles in Egyptian mythology, his symbolism, and the rituals and beliefs associated with him, highlighting his importance in the cultural and religious landscape of ancient Egypt. Origins and mythological background. Anubis, known in ancient Egyptian as Anpu or Inpu, has a name that is etymologically linked to the word Inpu, meaning to decay. His early representations date back to the Old Kingdom, circa 2686 to 2181 years before Christ, where he was initially associated with the burial process and cemeteries. Over time, Anubis mythology evolved, intertwining with other deities and myths, most notably the Osiris myth. In the earliest periods of Egyptian history, Anubis was seen as the primary god of the dead. His role began to shift as Osiris rose in prominence, but Anubis remained a crucial figure, particularly in the process of mummification and the protection of graves. Anubis' parentage varies in different texts. In some traditions, he is the son of Ra, the sun god, while in others, he is the offspring of Osiris and Nephthys, or even Set and Nephthys. Role in the myth of Osiris. The myth of Osiris, one of the most significant in Egyptian mythology, positions Anubis in a vital role. According to the myth, Osiris, the king of Egypt, was murdered by his brother Set, who scattered Osiris' body parts across the land. Isis, Osiris' wife, and Nephthys, her sister, collected the body parts with Anubis' help. Anubis then embalmed and wrapped Osiris' body, restoring him to life and enabling him to become the lord of the underworld. This myth underscores Anubis' association with the funerary rites and the protection of the dead. As the one who embalmed Osiris, Anubis became the prototype for all embalmers, and his priests performed the rituals of mummification, invoking his guidance and protection. Symbolism and iconography. Anubis is traditionally depicted with the head of a black jackal and the body of a man. The black color symbolizes the decay of the body as well as the fertile soil of the Nile River, which promises rebirth and regeneration. The jackal, a scavenger that roams cemeteries, is an appropriate symbol for a deity associated with the dead. His iconography often includes him holding a flail, a symbol of authority, and a crook, indicating his role as a guide. In tombs and funerary art, Anubis is frequently shown attending to the deceased, either overseeing the mummification process or guiding the dead through the underworld. The process of mummification. Mummification was a critical ritual in ancient Egyptian culture aimed at preserving the body for the afterlife. The process was intricate, involving several steps that required specialized knowledge and skill. As the god of mummification, Anubis was invoked at every stage of this process. Purification. The body was washed and purified. Priests, wearing masks of Anubis, conducted rituals to cleanse the body, invoking Anubis protection. Removal of organs. The internal organs were removed, except for the heart, which was believed to be the seat of the soul. These organs were preserved in canopic jars, each protected by a deity associated with Anubis. Desiccation. The body was dehydrated using natron, a natural salt, to prevent decay. This process took about 40 days. Wrapping. The body was wrapped in linen bandages. Amulets and charms were placed between the layers, invoking Anubis protection and ensuring safe passage to the afterlife. Final rites. The priests performed the opening of the mouth ceremony, believed to restore the senses of the deceased, allowing them to interact with the world of the living and the gods. Throughout this process, Anubis was seen as the overseer, ensuring the body's preservation and preparing the deceased for their journey to the afterlife. Anubis in the afterlife and the judgment of the dead. Anubis' role extended beyond mummification to the realm of the afterlife, where he served as a guide and judge of the dead. The journey to the afterlife was fraught with challenges, and the deceased needed guidance to navigate the dangers of the underworld. Guide of souls. Anubis was often depicted leading the soul of the deceased to the Hall of Ma'at, where their fate would be determined. As a psychopomp, he ensured that the soul reached its destination safely. Weighing of the heart. In the hall of Maat, the heart of the deceased was weighed against the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and justice. Anubis presided over this ritual, ensuring that the weighing was fair and just. Judgment. If the heart was lighter than the feather, the soul was deemed pure and worthy of entering the afterlife. If it was heavier, it was devoured by Ammit, the devourer of the dead, condemning the soul to oblivion. Anubis' presence as the judge underscored the importance of truth and morality in Egyptian beliefs about the afterlife. Anubis worship and cult. Anubis was widely worshipped across ancient Egypt, with numerous temples and shrines dedicated to him. The most significant center of his worship was Sinopolis, or the City of the Dog, in Upper Egypt. Here, priests of Anubis conducted elaborate rituals and ceremonies to honor the god and seek his protection. The cult of Anubis was deeply intertwined with the practices of embalming and burial. Priests who performed mummification often wore masks resembling Anubis, embodying the god's presence during the sacred rites. These priests, known as Wab priests, were highly respected and held significant authority in society due to their connection with Anubis and their role in ensuring the safe passage of souls to the afterlife. Anubis in Egyptian texts and literature. Anubis is prominently featured in a variety of ancient Egyptian texts, including the pyramid texts, the coffin texts, and the Book of the Dead. These texts provide invaluable insights into the beliefs and practices associated with Anubis and his role in the afterlife. Pyramid texts. Dating back to the Old Kingdom, these texts were inscribed on the walls of pyramids and provided the deceased pharaoh with spells and instructions to navigate the afterlife. Anubis is frequently mentioned as the protector of the dead and the overseer of the mummification process. Coffin texts. These texts, which appeared in the Middle Kingdom, were inscribed on coffins and continued to emphasize Anubis' role in protecting and guiding the deceased. Book of the Dead. Perhaps the most famous of all Egyptian funerary texts, the Book of the Dead is a collection of spells, prayers, and incantations intended to guide the deceased through the underworld. Anubis is depicted throughout the text, particularly in scenes showing the weighing of the heart and the journey to the afterlife. Anubis in art and iconography. Anubis' image is a staple in ancient Egyptian art, from the grand murals adorning tomb walls to small amulets and statuettes. His distinctive jackal-headed form made him easily recognizable, and his presence in art served both decorative and protective functions. Tomb paintings. Anubis is often depicted in tomb paintings, attending to the deceased and overseeing the mummification process. These images serve to invoke his protection and ensure the safe passage of the soul. Statuettes and amulets. Small figurines and amulets of Anubis were commonly placed in tombs and worn by the living for protection. These objects were believed to carry the god's protective powers and were highly valued in Egyptian society. Temple reliefs. Temples dedicated to Anubis often featured elaborate reliefs depicting scenes from the afterlife and the mummification process. These reliefs served both as a form of worship and as educational tools, illustrating the rituals and beliefs associated with Anubis. Anubis and the evolution of Egyptian religion. The worship of Anubis evolved over time, reflecting changes in Egyptian society and religious beliefs. While his role as the primary god of the dead was eventually overshadowed by Osiris, Anubis remained an integral part of the Egyptian pantheon, particularly in his association with mummification and the judgment of the dead. Integration with Osiris. As Osiris became the central figure of the afterlife, Anubis' role shifted to that of a helper and protector. This integration did not diminish Anubis' importance, but rather complemented the evolving religious framework, ensuring that the rituals of death and burial remained deeply connected to the divine. Syncretism. Anubis was sometimes merged with other deities, a common practice in ancient Egyptian religion. One notable example is Hermanubis, a fusion of Anubis and the Greek god Hermes, reflecting the syncretic nature of Egyptian religion during the Hellenistic period. Enduring legacy. Despite the changes in religious beliefs and practices, Anubis' legacy endured through the centuries. His image and symbolism continued to be revered, and his association with the afterlife remained a cornerstone of Egyptian culture. Modern interpretations and influence. Anubis' image and mythology have transcended ancient Egypt, influencing modern culture in various ways. His distinctive form and the rich symbolism associated with him have made Anubis a popular figure in literature, art, and media. Literature and film. Anubis has appeared in numerous works of fiction, from novels and comics to movies and television shows. These modern interpretations often draw on his traditional roles but also explore new facets of his character, blending ancient mythology with contemporary storytelling. Art and design. Anubis' striking image continues to inspire artists and designers. His jackal-headed form and the intricate symbols associated with him are frequently used in tattoos, jewelry, and other forms of personal expression. Popular culture. Anubis' presence in popular culture extends beyond literature and art. He is often featured in video games, where his role as a guide and protector of the dead is reimagined in various fantastical settings. Conclusion. Anubis, the god of mummification and the judgment of the dead, remains one of the most fascinating and enduring figures of ancient Egyptian mythology. His role in the complex rituals of death and burial, his presence in the afterlife, and his powerful symbolism have left an indelible mark on both ancient and modern culture. As a protector, guide, and judge, Anubis embodies the profound mysteries of life, death, and the hope for rebirth, continuing to captivate and inspire people across the ages.